Name me 5 stocks right now. Indian stocks. 5. Quickly. Whatever comes to your mind.
Reliance, HDFC, Adani, Indigo, and Tata.
Now name me 5 IPOs over the past 10 years.
No idea.
I'll tell you. Paytm,
LIC, Swiggy, Zomato, Nykaa.
Lovely. So, the 5 IPOs you have named were heavily marketed IPOs. Welcome to Battle Zone. We bring controversial opinions to the table, take one side each, and then go. Vishrut, this one is crazy. I believe not even the professionals know what the hell they're doing in the stock market. What do you feel?
Akhil, that's a very loaded question. First of all, I would like you to define who these professionals are. And second of all, when you say don't know what they are doing, what exactly do you mean?
I'll go more fundamental, right? And I have these weird dreams, and my dreams are really weird. So I'll tell you about these weird dreams, right? What is the stock market? Okay, that's fundamentally the first question you have. The stock market is like any other machi market on the planet. Okay, which people don't understand. People think it's something special. It's not. It's about which stock is marketed the best. Let's say you and I were to go out and sell sandals, right? Now, nobody cares what my sandals are made of till they buy it. What do they care about? They care about the hopes and dreams around that sandal that I can tie it up with.
Did you just say hopes and dreams?
Yeah. My sandals will make you feel like you're walking on clouds. Shit, if you were really walking on clouds, you would fall and die. So the point is that those dreams give value to that freaking sandal. Just like every other marketing. Right? So let's say a stock market professional comes to you. Let's call him an investor. Let's call him an wealth manager. Okay? Let's call him a wealth manager. So wealth manager comes to you and says, Vishrut, Indian stock market is going to do so well because the earnings of India are going crazy. What are they telling you? They're telling you 2 to 3 things right now. 1, investors in India will value earnings. First thing they're telling you. 2, there are enough investors in India who do understand what that even means. Okay? Number 3, that is the belief right now, whether it happens or not does. Cool? So when we see things like Shark Tank, when we see things like any other investor shows, when you go to like an angel investor meeting, what do they sell you? My company next year will do this. If you believe enough, you buy into their idea and you pay them a premium. Cool? Are we on the right page?
I asked my cousin just last week. She's 16 years old and she said, I'm interested in the stock market. I asked her this question. I said, do you know who the money goes to when you buy something on the stock market? She looked at me confused. And she answered, the company. And I said, there you go. Today, people think when they buy a particular stock on the stock market, the money is going to the company. That's not always true, right? 90% of the time when you're buying something on the stock market, the money is going to the person you're buying the stock from. Today, if you hold shares of Tesla and I come to you and I say, Akhil, I would like to buy your shares of Tesla and you're willing to sell your shares of Tesla, my money is going to you, not to Tesla.
That is a very loaded discussion on secondary shares versus primary shares. Okay, in case I have a stock market share price of 100 rupees. If I, as the owner of the company, want to raise money for the company can dilute itself at 100 rupees, which essentially means that I can put more shares in the market and take money from that. But when those shares are like Vishrut buys the first share and then Vishrut sells the share to Akhil, at that time the company doesn't do anything. But here the discussion is something like this. Here the discussion is about that value of 100 rupees.
My point to you is very simple. My point is, how often is it that the company is diluting itself versus Akhil buying a share from Vishrut or Vishrut buying a share from X or Y buying a share from X?
Very rare event. initial offerings, primary offerings, they are very rare. Primarily, it is
Exactly. So more often than not, it is Vishrut buying from Akhil, or Akhil buying from X, or Y buying from X, or X buying from Z. So the company in all of this is making no money.
Yeah.
I feel this is where amateurs and professionals differ. Professionals know this, and we have always held this belief that in the stock market, money goes from the less informed to the more informed.
Okay.
Right? We've had this discussion God knows how many times.
I want to change that up, right? Let's spice it up. What is the information that you are looking for?
What the company is going to do? How is it changing? What is the things that are forecasted to happen? What are the goals that it's setting itself? Is it able to meet those goals? Are those goals better than that set the previous year or the previous quarter or the previous month? Is there growth?
That's where I completely differ. And I'll tell you why. I believe the fundamental nature of what is being taught is wrong. Because let's talk about the US market. Okay, it's considered to be an efficient market. What is an efficient market? An efficient market means that the set of beliefs that do govern the stock market, that earnings should be this much, growth should be this much, forecasts are like this is happening in the market, everything together, whatever makes sense. The market price will show whatever makes sense, which means the market knows best. At one point in time in the US, 97% of all stocks were held by something called institutions. In an institution, very learned people, the ones who have studied a lot about finance, are the ones making decisions, and they are able to decide on which stock is good at what price, which we call fair market value. Cool. But here's the twist. Something called a retail investor suddenly invaded this. What is a retail investor? A retail investor is this one random dude or girl who's decided that here I am gonna come into the market and make my own decisions about what stock I'm gonna buy. Yeah? So here's the problem. The stock is priced at whatever somebody will buy. If I can convince the regular folk to focus on my stock and buy it at a given price, the stock price will not represent anything close to the fundamentals. And I can give you single examples for this, but I'll give you like a wholesome example for this. Yeah, there's this company called Tesla. Everybody loves Tesla, right? So Tesla was the baby doll of the stock market. Because there's this guy who says he will change the world, this guy who says that the world needs to evolve, this guy who says that if we don't come up with an energy transition, the world will die. And then what happens? Tesla has a PE of 100 and something. At one point it had a PE of some 2000 something, right? What that means is for every dollar that it earns, its stock price was 2000, 200, 450, right? Doesn't make sense. This is not an efficient market thing, but that company became top 10 largest companies on the planet without making any money, without having the fundamentals in place, because of marketing, because of advertisement, that this person will change the world. What happens when this person starts being involved in the government and you realize he's a psycho? People stop buying, which means your stock starts falling, right? It's not a play of professionals. Every time a professional told you to buy S&P 500, like even we do, buy the index fund, the professional is telling you to buy Tesla because Tesla is one of the top 10 stocks in the country, right? When you talk about Apple, again, such high PE numbers, they don't matter. These are just relations that we have formed with the data. The reality is, if you want to find a small company that will really burst in the stock, in the value of its stock, find something that you believe will be marketed very well. Not something that will do very well fundamentally, because those might be 10 years out. No. Find somebody who is a CEO who you think will form a cult. As soon as they form the cult, the stock will go boom.
Akhil, I have a feeling that all of this that we have just spoken about is short-term knowledge. I feel like where professionals come into play is over the longer term. When we look at index funds, we have seen the data. In the past 20 odd years, they have outperformed every single mutual fund in the US, right?
When did the retail revolution of the world happen? That's a very essential question, because at what time did the normie gain access to the market? My father didn't have access. When he was 20, 30 years old, he had to go to a broker. Broker would recommend him, broker became the professional. Yeah. Institutionalized funds still held the stock. So, where is the zero dhar revolution?
2012, 2013?
2020. Where is the Stocko revolution? Where is the Robin Hood revolution?
2012, 2013.
2013 to 2017, we were still figuring out how to use our damn devices. Do you know there was no Uber in 2020?
Yeah.
And 2017 to 2020, everybody started getting hang of, yeah, man, this can be used. This looks something viable. 2020, everybody started opening their brokerage accounts. 2021, 22, GME happens. GameStop. If you don't know what GameStop is, bro, like, check it out. But the point is, if GameStop can happen, if Tesla can happen, if Nikola can happen, do you know about Nikola? An electric truck company which never had a truck, which became a huge ass company, then they realized they didn't even have anything behind it. But the stock did go up because enough retail investors were involved.
Exactly. Same thing happened as a company called Bombay Oxygen or something like that when there was the entire oxygen crisis happening in India during COVID. That stock shot up, people thinking that made oxygen. But all of this, Akhil, again, it's all a flash in the pan. GameStop was a flash in the pan. What happened in the 2008 crisis, all of those who made money at that point, flash in the pan. One odd event. All of those who made money during COVID, flash in the pan.
Name me 5 stocks right now, Indian stocks, 5. Quickly, whatever comes to your mind.
Reliance, HDFC, Adani, Indigo, and Tata.
Now name me 5 IPOs over the past 10 years.
No idea.
I'll tell you. Paytm,
LIC, Swiggy, Zomato, Nykaa.
Lovely. So the 5 IPOs you have named, right? I don't know about LIC, but the rest of them were heavily marketed IPOs.
LIC was also heavily marketed.
Okay. Again, I don't know about LIC, but none of the other ones have ever made money. But their stock price is awesome. Why? If a professional, if I give you the professional's opinion, right? I have a master's in finance and all the whatnot, right? What do you get out of it? Oh, if you don't earn, if your growth projections are just in the air, if over the past 10 years you don't have any cash flow, you should stay away from this stock. What happens though? The retail investors run to the company. Oh my God, Swiggy. You, having a CFA level 1, have discussed with me, Akhil, is Swiggy a good IPO buy? The thought is, what made them valuable? The marketing.
Again, I don't think any of these companies over the longer run have done well. If you see the Zomato when it listed, it started off, everything was rosy, then there was a massive fall. And then once things started getting profitable, once the numbers actually started backing it up to some extent, that is when things work. I don't even know if Zomato's back to where it listed at now.
So Zomato got listed at 132. Right now Zomato trades at 236. And Zomato has a PE of 346. So for every 1 rupee that Zomato makes, you are giving it a stock value of 340. A professional will tell you it should be 17, 18, 13, 12. They're just a food delivery service. Their book value is at 30. That means their total asset worth alongside their intellectual property is worth 30, while their stock trades at 230. It's marketing. And people are failing to recognize marketing because I was not in my master's taught how important marketing is, how important founder-led companies are. Cults sell like shit and professionals don't understand.
That is the point, that today A professional would understand what happens in the longer term. You see someone, you to look at Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett is right now sitting on treasury. Okay, what that means, Warren Buffett right now has moved away from stocks and is sitting on bonds, on FD in Indian language. Cool. So much so that 4.36% of all the US treasuries right now are owned by Berkshire Hathaway. He is now so scared of the market because nothing seems fundamental that he's sitting there. And yet, when the market is returning big. My point is not whether somebody knows long term or short term. My point is the definition of long term has changed. The core meaning of what long term means no longer means what it meant 20 years ago. Tesla is now a 10-year-old thing, right? So 10 saal pehle, 10 years ago, Tesla started taking. So now it is also long term. In the long run, Tesla would have returned you 20x money. I'm just saying the curriculums need to be updated. And the professionals just going on the past, it will not work because the world has changed.
So, do you think the professionals are idiots? Let us know in the comments below.